a state that I grew up in. I lived there for about 15 years, Florida, under the leadership of Governor Skeletor, Rick Scott, and well, there you go, Republican governor. Florida is going to start providing certificates for miscarriages. And this is according to CBSnews.com. Florida is going to be the first state in the United States to issue what's considered to be a birth certificate to women who have had miscarriages. Rick Scott, the governor behind me, he signed this into law on yesterday. And they are going to issue what's called certificates of non-viable birth beginning July 1st of this year. This is a portion of, or this is a part of the Grieving Family Act. And they will be issued only if the parents request them. We'll come back to that in a moment. They have stipulations as to the range, how old or how far along in the process a child is as to whether or not they can get a certificate. But according to CBS News, it's going to be available to women whose pregnancies end after 9 weeks and before 20 weeks. And after that 20-week mark, it's considered to be a stillbirth. People who are complaining about this are people who don't, people who feel like this is a problematic step. They believe that it's an attempt by the Scott administration in Florida to define when life begins. And if they're able to use this as just another step towards defining life beginning at conception versus at the time of birth, then they can begin using the personhood laws. They can begin to say that abortion is actual murder, and they can begin to roll back a woman's right to choose. And going back to the fact that these certificates are only available if the parents request it, the question isn't really where did this bill start? It really is how is it going to be implemented and how will it transform over time? Right now it's voluntary. Will there come a time where it's no longer voluntary? Will there come a time when a piece of legislation like this will make it mandatory that anyone who has a miscarriage has to get a certificate of non-viable birth? And what type of social implications does this really have, right? If we move to that space, there's only one step away. You know, there's only a line of language in this legislation that keeps it from being mandatory. But if we move to the realm where this is mandatory, this will easily be a tool used to shame people who get abortions. And so whereas the Scott administration, the people involved, they're saying that are people who are proponents of this step, they're saying that this is a means of giving parents who've lost, they had a miscarriage, giving them an opportunity to find closure. And there is, you know, it's hard to argue with that, especially when you're not the person going through that, or you are the person going through that. You know, it sounds like a reasonable position. However, that reasonable position can very quickly devolve into something that is a tool against a woman's right to choose. And of course, it had to have started in Florida. If there's something unbelievable happening in the United States, you better believe it's happening first in the state of Florida under the leadership of Governor Rick Scott, also known as Skeletor.